Hello and welcome along, everybody. This is stage 7 of the Longines Global Champions Tour. This is GCTV. My name is Mark Lewis, and we are once again on the French Riviera, this time in the incredible city of Cannes for stage 7. Now, there is some very important information that we need to fill you in on throughout today's broadcast. But first, take a look at that magnificent view. And I'm not talking about the $6.99 French pass that is available for you, by the way, for tonight's Grand Prix and what will come in Paris. But that drone shot of the French Riviera of the Stade des Hesperides here that is playing host to us in Cannes for stage 7 of the LGCT season. Here is the important information for you to know. Max Kuhne won the previous stage in Saint-Tropez. Eduardo Alvarez Asno, who, by the way, jumped his 5th consecutive clear in that previous stage, is still the current LGCT championship leader, and quite importantly, he cannot lose his championship lead regardless of what happens tonight. There is no Asnar in Cannes, by the way. The last time that a French winner was successful and won the LGCT Grand Prix of Cannes dates back to 2015. Penelope Laprevot was the winner back in 2015, and Henrik von Ackermann, the world #1, will be the very first rider into the ring. Difficult qualification last night for the world #1. He is in, he has qualified, but he will be the very first rider out the gate, looking to try and replicate the success of Gilles Thomas a couple of stages ago. Now that you have some background, now that you have some context, let's flash back to the LGCT of Saint-Tropez and remind you of that very impressive victory from Max Kuhne.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ramatuelle Saint-Tropez. Welcome to Paradise for the 6th Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix of the season. Max Kuhne. After the 5 strides to Lugano, here comes the rollback and the final line for Kuhne. Really risking it at the Longines upright as the stride in the end slows down drastically. It's double clear for Max Kuhne. Julien Paillard is unleashed once again. 36.39, and there goes the back wheel. Here is Asnar. Come on, Edu, this time it could work. This time it could work. 36.39 is to beat. He's holding, he's waiting, and he's going behind Max Kuhne. De Lestre. De Lestre can make up if he doesn't check, if he can go all in and flat out, he can win finally here in Ramatuelle Saint-Tropez, but it's not going to be the case, and he is second.
The last weeks I've been sometimes second and had the fastest time and 1 down, so very happy that it worked out now.
Max Kuhne successful in Ramatuelle Saint-Tropez, and that is some big championship points up for grabs for him tonight, or in Saint-Tropez, shall I say. The big trick now is whether or not he'll stay in second place. There are a handful of riders that, if successful tonight, can try and leapfrog Max Kuhne into second place. But this is what the overall rankings look like. As we said, no Eduardo Alvarez Asna here in Cannes tonight. However, Christian Kuckuck here and present. We know that, of course, as well, there are a handful of riders on this list. Andreas Skau here and present will be looking to try and make a big impact and make up some championship points. Julien Akata here, present and qualified. We know Christian Kuckuck, as we said, is here as well. Although there will be a lot of attention on those riders looking to try and take away the championship lead from Eduardo Alvarez Asna. You may well be asking as well, what is happening over here? Well, something that we've been running on social media and will continue to run throughout the rest of the day is this limited edition Longines Global Champions Tour cap. You remember last week we gave away one in Saint-Tropez that had the special Saint-Tropez emblem. Well, this one now has the very special limited edition Cannes emblem available for you. Go check out our social media feed to find out how you can win this cap by the end of tonight. And as we bring our winner into the studio, there may well be a signature on that cap as well. But let's focus on tonight. Let's focus on today's venue on stage 7 of the LGCT Grand Prix here in Cannes and talk more about this absolutely sensational venue in the south of France.
I'm here at at the entrance to Le Stade des Hesperides, located in the very heart of Cannes. Now, this is normally a very well-known football stadium, but this weekend we've turned it into a show jumping arena. Before we go in, let's see how the horses get here. The horses make their way from the stables down the famous La Croisette, which back in the day was a very simple road used for donkeys and pilgrims. But now it's a world-renowned seaside resort, full of the fanciest shops, restaurants and hotels. It's really known as the City of Stars. And this weekend we have the highest profile horses and riders who get to enjoy the view before they head to the competition. This is the main arena. This is where the action happens. And for the 7th stage of the Longines Global Champions Tour, it will be held under the floodlights. Bring on the competition.
That sensational bird's eye view from the GC drone, just overlooking this incredible arena, overlooking the bay, overlooking this entire region, and just puts into perspective what things are going to look like in a couple of hours' time when the summer sunset finally kicks in just behind us here. Now, the 2023 Longines Global Champions Tour overall season winner, Harry Smulders, is here in Cannes. And in fact, he's trying to go on and win the title that he should have won last year. If you recall the 2023 Grand Prix here, it was on a platter for Harry Smulders. He was flying, and a fence going down denied him that opportunity. We caught up with Smulders to find out whether or not he feels he's in the right space to finally right that wrong.
Weekend between the riders, we have got 9 championship titles, and the current champion Harry Smulders is right here. Now, this time last year in Cannes he came 4th, but he could have won, and it was an unlucky last that lost it for him. Let's go and speak to him. Harry, good to see you back here in Cannes.
Hi.
Nice to have you back. Are you ready to relive your jump off from last year?
Of course.
Do you remember much about it?
Yeah, not everything, but I know that I had the last fence down.
Listen, let's rewatch it again. Tell us what you're doing throughout it.
He had a little bit of a break, and then he was straight away clear in the Grand Prix.
And what was your mindset going into this jump off?
I remember like the first line was a little bit quiet, and then I really tried to gear up. And he went so smooth into the double. He jumped super, I geared again.
And he reached, didn't he?
He had super first distance. Then a very tight turn. Everything went according to plan, and I think also my time was very fast at the end. I was probably way ahead.
Seconds, yeah.
And I remember towards the last fence I had a good distance, but then he got a little distracted somewhere, and I ended up a little bit long to the last.
And if you watch everyone's reactions here, they really thought that you'd gone clear then. It was a really delayed fall of that fence, actually. Yeah. Is that really gutting at that point?
Yeah, it was such a shame. Monaco deserved. He jumped out of his skin, and he really deserved to win the 5-star win. He's so consistent his whole life.
Well, being back here in Cannes, you've got another go at it. What does it take in there, the atmosphere, to jump a really good round?
I think here it's very cozy. It's in the evening with floodlights. So the horses will feel that there's a bit noise, there's a bit from the people, because it's a bit of a squaring. It's not easy for all the horses, but Monaco loves it, and then the atmosphere in the night. He has a lot of adrenaline, and he's trying really hard.
Realistic expectations then for the Grand Prix. Can you come back here and win?
I don't know what that is. Like last season was a very long season for my horses, so I gave them actually a very long break to recharge. And this is again if I'm gonna ride Monaco, it's gonna be again his first Grand Prix of the season. So I still didn't decide. First we go tomorrow in the qualification, and my feeling, what he's going to tell me, if he's ready, then I will put him in the Grand Prix.
Well, listen, best of luck. Hopefully we see you on top of that podium this year. Thank you, Harry.
Thank you very much.
So the current LGCT champion, Harry Smolders, is back. Monaco is back, and they are very late to go as well, by the way. They will be the fourth last combination to come out. So all of a sudden, Harry Smolders, is he one to look out for later on tonight? Also, Rosie Tapner spoke about those 9 championship wins that are currently in Cannes. Let's break those down for a second. 3-time LGCT overall champion Ben Mayer has 3 of those. Edwina Tops-Alexander, always a favorite ground of hers here. She has 2. Scott Brash has 2. And then Harry Smolders, the defending LGCT champion, has 2 himself. So 9 Cannes championships present and available here tonight. How many of those may well be on the favorites list? Frederick de Backer is standing by for us. Frederick, let's come to you. And I wonder if maybe we start this slowly and zoom out a little bit and ask you for some favorites first and foremost. The start list looks fantastic, and I will dive deeper into it. But don't pull your hair out yet. I haven't even started. Let's talk about who you think looks good for tonight's LGCT Grand Prix.
The one who looks best so far, Mark, is you. You look $1 million there in that beautiful
stop it.
But yeah, stop it. But we have to get into this competition. Start with the prize fund. 500,000 euros in prize money. 12 horses that have been on the podium already. 21 riders have been on the podium already. 15 riders here in this Grand Prix have actually already won a Grand Prix in their career. So it kind of shapes already the intensity. So you have to excuse me if I'm saying that it's so difficult to really pick the favorites. We've got them on the board, of course, and who is all in there? Well, it's a little bit of a remarkable choice, not a choice, a decision, of course, because of the qualifier. Henrik van Eckermann, world number 1, is first to go with Iliana. Edwina Tops-Alexander has won 2 Grand Prix here already, 7 times in the jump-off, Mark, 7 times. Andreas Kau, over the last few weeks, always on this favorites board, but every time just 4 penalties. Gilles Thomas, of course, with Luna, Shanghai Grand Prix winner, we can't leave them out. Emanuele Camille, not a regular on the tour, but with Odense Odeveld, 3rd highest ranked rated horse. Alma with Mandato, home rider Julien Anquetin, Blood Diamond Dupont, outsider Janne Frederik Amaya with Messi van Truitershof, and then Peter de Vos, top-rated horse with Toupie de la Roque, and last to go Julien Epaillard with Dubai du Cèdre. Now yesterday in the qualifier, he completely, how should I say it quietly, and he humiliated the rest of the field. I mean, he was 3.5 seconds faster than the second man in the qualification. And then we're only talking about the highest rated horses on numbers.
I want to find out, because that's where I want to dive, Frederick, and I understand that. Let's talk about those horse ratings tonight, because it's difficult to discount traditional big names based on perhaps current form, because maybe those current rankings don't assist their current horse ratings. But if we just take a look at that firepower from a horse perspective, try and open that net up, try and widen that branch, give us an idea as to just how and why tonight's LGCT Grand Prix of Cannes is indeed such a hot field outside of the names you've put onto your board tonight.
Well, you can't ignore the numbers, and those numbers are the ratings. Those are facts that's based on results. But I mean, I haven't mentioned Killer Queen. I haven't mentioned Point Break. I haven't mentioned Skatanga. I haven't mentioned H&M Indiana. I haven't mentioned Michael van der Vleuten with Beauville. Who else? I haven't mentioned Jefferson, a former winner here. Mark, there's so many horses that I didn't get to yet. Point Break with Ben Mayer, of course. There's so many that didn't come up into these 10 that are very likely to go clear. And we're not talking about winners, but the potential to go clear in this Grand Prix from the horses, from the field, from the quality is so high that you have to put yourself in the place of Uyano Vezzani. Just go ahead and start designing a Grand Prix. 500,000 euro in prize money in the purse, and you've seen the list. You know he knows the sport better than anybody else. He knows the ratings, he knows the quality of the field, and he has to make a test for these horses. That's ultra difficult.
Incredible, and I look forward to coming back to you in a few moments' time, Fredrik. We'll try and get some more perspective onto what has been designed for the course. But as Fredrik points out, there are current rankings that obviously decide who then should and will be favourites for today's Grand Prix. But then there are horses, there are combinations, there are challengers, there are riders that at the moment might not be highly rated, but cannot be discounted. When you add those two, whoopsie, there goes our Cap. When you add those two together, it then makes for a very, very devastating field for tonight's LGCT Grand Prix of Cannes. Now, what about, we spoke about Andreas Skau, what about Andreas Skau and Napoli? They obviously come into today's LGCT Grand Prix as well, and will be looking to try and make up some ground, try and put in a really, really strong performance. Well, Rosie Tapner standing by with Andreas Skau. Rosie, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. Andreas, how did you find qualifying last night?
I found it rather hard yesterday because somehow there wasn't many mistakes. It wasn't one of the toughest second round we've seen. So if you were a little bit unlucky having two down, you were out of today's Grand Prix. So you had to be sharp yesterday.
Is there anything you learned from yesterday that you're going to take forward into today?
My horse jumped really good. I had one mistake. I hope he learned from that one. I hope it's going to be a tough Grand Prix tonight. He's in really good shape. I said last week I thought last Saturday should be my night. It wasn't. I had again one down. So I really hope tonight is my night.
You've jumped so many Grand Prix in the past, but the horsepower coming into this Grand Prix, how does it compare?
I think tonight's going to be an unbelievable sport. There's some of the best combination. It's soon the Olympics, you know, so everybody wants to be in top shape now, and you will see many of the combinations tonight. So I think we're going to see great sport.
Who would you say is your biggest threat going into tonight?
Okay, when you have Julien Epeliard out as last one, and his probably, I guess that's going to be his Olympic mount for sure. He's a top runner for the first place, but also Ben Mayer and yeah, many of the guys has good horses here, so it's a little bit difficult to say.
Well, you also have a good horse here as well, so we wish you the best of luck. Thank you, Andreas. Mark, we will head back to you in the studio.
Even Andreas Skau is not discounting how dangerous Julien Epeliard looks currently in Cannes this weekend. And as Fredrik just reminded us about that qualifier yesterday, absolutely blowing the field away. The Frenchman, the two-time LGCT winner from 2023, will be looking to win yet another big LGCT title here tonight. But just before him, Ben Mayer jumps. Harry Smolders, the current LGCT champion. Marlo Bride-Johnsen, Nicola Philipparts and Katanga, who was successful in the Global Champions League. You then have Peter de Vos and Moms Tupi de la Roque, Christian Kukoc and Just Be Gentle. The list goes on, and that is the point that Fredrik de Backer has been making about just how dangerous this field is going to be tonight. Well, stand by. We take a quick break. When we return, more reaction from the riders and a better understanding as to what has been designed by Uliana Vizzani tonight for the round.
Elegance is an attitude. Of course it is.
Welcome back to the GCTV live studio. We are currently in Cannes for stage 7 of the Longines Global Champions Tour season. As it stands now, we've spoken about this incredibly strong field. We've spoken about the challenges perhaps facing Uliana Vizzani, because as Fredrik pointed out, the amount of firepower, the amount of talent in this field. How, as a course designer, do you go about challenging riders and horses of such a high caliber? Well, let's try to get some more insight onto that. Fredrik de Backer, let's come back to you. You spoke about the challenge facing Vizzani. Let's talk about the challenge that he then puts through to his riders. Talk to us about tonight's course. What has Vizzani put together for tonight's LGCT Grand Prix of Cannes, Fredrik?
Well, if you look at the course plan right from the start, Mark, there's one thing that really stands out. Normally, if you remember Ramatuelle, if you remember Madrid, 1, 2, 3, 4 were all fences to get into the rhythm. Not today, not tonight, not this weekend. First line, 1 to 2, slightly on the downhill slide, and it's actually a slightly moving 7, so it's already 7 on the inside. That would mean, Mark, that if you want to get on that inside line, you're coming away from the screen, and we know that this weekend that big video screen has played a role already. So if your horse is a little bit wary about the screen, you won't have your perfect approach into fence 1 to make those inside 7. Now, maybe I'm exaggerating and maybe I'm making too big of a deal out of this, but just keep in mind what we've just mentioned. The next part is actually, I think here, fence 11, that palm tree vertical at 11 sits a little bit higher on the course. I'm talking about this one right here. This sits a little bit higher, so the turn from 2 to 3 will actually be a little bit nicer. 3 to 4 is slightly short. So we just had a forward distance, now we have a short distance, but now it really gets compact together. Keep in mind, round 1 related, 2 to 3 is a rollback, which will be technical, and then you've got the holding 6, you've got an inside 7 or an outside 8 to the oxer. Now, both are rideable. The inside 7 are going to shoot you a little bit towards the video screen. The outside 8 might get you stuck in what could be a very tight angle coming to fence 5. And it continues, because then it is or a very direct 7 into the triple combination or an outside 8. Basically meaning that whatever you've been deciding here on the rollback from 2 to 3 will have an effect on 3 to 4, on 4 to 5, and on 5 to 6. And that is a triple combination. Now, the triple combination is a topic on its own, because this is not a mistake on my screen, Mark. The triple combination, if this is the edge of the ring, the triple combination goes like this. It goes towards the ring. So when you're coming in, you're actually jumping. The more you proceed through that triple combination, you're actually jumping towards the edge of the ring. What is it? It is vertical, 2 strides, vertical, 1 stride, and a huge oxen at meter 60. Now, on the floodlight, with lots of public in the grandstand in the Stade d'Esperide, lots of horses will try to get to the inside, will try to shy away from that edge of the ring. So that whole sector, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, is a whole topic on its own. Then a little bit of a breather, a long loop to win or lose time. 8 strides, 7 to 8. That should not be the most difficult part of the course. And then it continues. So he's broken this course up into 2 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then 8 sits over there. Then it's 9 to 10 on 5 strides. You make the approach to 11 that actually sits a little bit higher. That is a full face plank, so it's 1 plank on top of the other. It looks like a wall, actually. And then it is inside 6 to fence 12. But inside means slightly following, so it's a following 6 strides followed by a short 4 from 12 to 13, 4 strides to the finish. So also this part, going up and down, don't forget about the slope, from 9 uphill to 10, downhill to 11, downhill to 12, and then the short 4 to the final fence. You'll see a lot of horses get stuck at that final fence, Mark. And what's more, that final fence, I just got a video from it, that final fence is actually a bush oxer. And we know that those bush oxers draw the horses a little bit closer, a little bit past the ideal point of takeoff. So also that final fence will have a big impact. Like I say, It's really cut into two pieces, from 1 to 6, then a breather from 7 to 8, and then from 9 all the way down to 13. Everything is linked. It is bing, 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 one after the other. You have to be on your A game. You have to be in top form and really, really well focused as well to get clear through this Grand Prix.
All right, with Uliano Vizzani using everything at his disposal. Right, Frederik de Backer, thank you very much. 1 to 6, a breather between 7 and 8, and then a big final stretch between 9 to 13 is Frederik de Backer's call. Let's see what the thoughts of Peter de Vos are. Standing by with Rosie Tapner. Rosie, what does Peter have to say?
Yeah, thank you, Mark. It does look like a tough course ahead. Peter, last night, the final line was extremely influential in qualifying. What line do you think in this course might be the influential one tonight?
I think there's more than one. Especially, of course, also again, the last line is a very difficult line at the end of the course. From the in-gate away, slightly in between distances. So the last line will be decisive, I think. But also, yeah, there is an in-between distance to the triple combination. There will be some options. There are 2-3 lines with some options, so there is a lot of planning beforehand. Yeah.
For you, for the final line, what distance are you going to try and go on?
My first feeling says that I'm going to go from the plank 6 inside to the vertical to the Liverpool, and then I angle a little bit for Liverpool to get not too short on the 4 on the last ox so that I can easily jump it. But okay, I'm gonna have to watch a few. I have the opportunity to watch a few, so then we'll see.
Who will you be watching? Who's the person that you watch for advice here? I've got the starting list here for you. We've got a few before you.
Yeah,
who would you have a look at?
Let me see. Yeah, that's a good question.
A lot to choose from here.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I have a little bit the same stride and the same rideability as Malin with Indiana, but she's just after me, so that is no option.
You've got to wait. Unfortunately, you're quite far below, but you do have a lot of options to look at.
Thibaut Spitz, I know him very well. I know how he rides. I know his horse, so I'm going to watch him as well. And then, I'm going to watch a few and make my own plan, and we'll see.
Tupi jumped brilliantly yesterday as well. She's 17 years old now. How did she come out of yesterday? How's she feeling today?
Yeah, to be honest, she had a few weeks break. And then last week, Saint-Tropez, she was not back in the rhythm yet. And then I was very, very, very satisfied yesterday. She gave me again the Tupi feeling. And today she felt good and she's still fresh. And I hope we'll do again what we used to do with her. But it's a big course and it's a lot to jump, so we're not there yet.
It feels tense tonight. It feels like there's a huge amount of focus. Prize money on the line as well tonight. There's a lot of prize money.
Yeah, it's more prize money than usual, and it's a bit of a special atmosphere always under the floodlight. A Grand Prix is always different than when it's in the afternoon. So the pressure is on, let's say.
Well, Peter, we'll let you go and focus. Thank you so much for chatting to us. There are the thoughts of Peter de Vos ahead of tonight's Grand Prix.
Thank you very much, Rosie Tapner. I like what he spoke about there with the Tupi feeling, that he's receiving a bit of a Tupi feeling. And it just talks about that combination. It talks about, the feeling that Peter de Vos alongside Moms Tupi de la Roque perhaps share with one another after all this time. He also talks about the floodlights and the extra prize money, 500,000 euros up for grabs tonight. So it is a big, big ticket up for grabs. Peter de Vos will be quite late to go, by the way, 32nd out the gate, just after Christian Koekkoek and just before Mark Macaulay, Marlon Bayer-Johnson and Nicola Philippas. Another man that will be keeping a very close eye on will be going 30th tonight, and that is the young Mexican Carlos Hank Guerrero. He has made an excellent start to his LGCT career. 2 LGCT appearances, both of them top 10 finishes. He finished 4th in Mexico and 7th in Saint-Tropez. Well, we caught up with the young Mexican to find out more about how his season is going.
I'm very happy so far. We did just those 2 and managed to get a good result in both with some really nice up-and-coming young horses that I'm really lucky to have had the privilege of riding since they were both 6 and 7.
So how are those relationships developed over the years, P?
Yeah, actually they were both always very special horses, and since we saw them as young horses at local shows in Belgium. Ganesh I got when he was a 6-year-old. He was quite a popular stallion growing up in Ireland, actually. He did quite a bit of breeding over there, and I think he won national championship in Dublin when he was 4. and I've ridden him since. He's always been actually very straightforward, easygoing. As a stallion, he has a little bit of a character, so we've had to deal with that, not push him so much. We do kind of the same with all our young horses. We don't really push them until the end of their 9-year-old year, because I believe they can get bored quite easily if you do a lot with them, especially the talented ones that are able to do it. It's very hard not to do it with them. Now beginning of 10, and I'm happy to say that they both kind of reached it when we expected, and they've been doing amazing. Me and my trainer, Eduardo Menezes, who also jumps on the team with me, we like to do a lot of planning in advance, as much as we can at least. And we always sit down in January, kind of in Wellington, when our season is going to get started, and we plan out kind of what our goals are for each horse and the road we would like them to take. So we try to stick to it as much as we can. Mexico was always a really big goal for my main horse, which is Portos. He likes those big grass arenas, he goes in them. And Ganesh is a bit the opposite. He's a bit more shy, so we wanted kind of to pick shows more like we have here this week or last week in Saint-Tropez, where the material is not so big and so impressive as you would see in Mexico. And I think luckily it worked out. Sometimes it doesn't, but we're very happy that it did. Actually, it was my first international show here in Europe 10 years ago when I was just 13. And I won my first class here, the 140. So it kind of sparked my dreams and my interest in becoming a top rider. Before, I used to just show national shows in Mexico and California, and I really liked the sport. But honestly, when I came here and I was in the warm-up with all these guys that I looked up to so much, I really said, I want to be here one day. So to be here 10 years later, it's very special, and to get a chance to compete with the best of them is a really nice feeling.
A very impressive season thus far for Carlos Hank Guerrero. 2 top 10 finishes already. Can he make it yet another top 10 finish later on tonight? Don't forget that on social media, we want to hear from you. We would like you to send your questions through to us and ask them to the winner later on tonight. Reach out to us on our stories at Longines Global Champions Tour on Instagram. For now, let's head into the ring. Let's get ready for tonight's jam-packed 500,000 euro LGCT Grand Prix of Cannes. This is GCTV. Let's get ready for stage 7 of the Longines Global Champions Tour.
The sun hasn't set completely just yet for this Grand Prix. Lights will come on and the sun will set as we progress through the evening. The jump-off will be held under a pitch black sky. Van der Vleuten won here last year. He's in the Grand Prix. Doyce won here 2 years ago, he's in the Grand Prix. Meer won here 3 years ago, and he is in the Grand Prix as well. The last 3 winners, all part of the elite group of 40 riders that qualified from a group of 50 last night. That qualifier was something special. It was tough to qualify on one hand. On the other hand, Julien Epaillard made it look easy because the fast Frenchman won the qualifier by 3.5 seconds. Epaillard so far not part of the leading group in the overall standings. Edu Aznar is still leading and Max Kuhner as well, but the both of them not present. Now Aznar cannot be overtaken. Kuhner can be overtaken by Koekoek, Van der Vleuten, Oskau in case they would win. And then further down, like Ben Meer, like Michael Duffy, Duarte Seabra, Spitz, Lynch, Philipp Hartz, Carlos Hank, they all have a shot at extra prize money and extra points for the LGCT standings. He never won an LGCT championship, remarkably, Ludger Beerbaum, but has mentored plenty of Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix winners. Look at how Janne Frederike Meijer is helping Sophie Hinners. That's a lot of team power there from the Cannes Stars, powered by the Iron Dames, and they'll need it because they have to take on this course built by Uljana Vezzani in a near square arena, 60 by 75 meters. What has Vezzani come up with? The first line, straight away a technical line, slightly on the downhill slope, and on an inside 7 strides to fence 2 of Constance. Rollback comes next, so that breaks your rhythm straight away, and it's a rollback to 3, a very airy wall with then an approach of a short six to a very big oxer. You then go up the hill on what could be a 7 or an 8, depending on the jump that you get and the jump that you want, because it's also half stride here, 7 or 8 into the triple combination of Longines. Now look at how this is positioned. This is not a mistake of the 3D. This is actually jumping into the corner and towards the LED boarding and the edge of the ring. 2 strides from vertical to vertical, and then 1 stride to come out with not an overly tall oxer, but a very wide oxer to jump out of that combination. I'm being told that the time allowed is 83 seconds, and look at this long loop. This is a very careful place to lose a lot of time. Now, why did he give that loop? Because this is a very delicate fence at 7. It should be a breather, but you cannot lose your focus. 8 strides then up the hill towards the big TV screen. It is 8 strides to the Volvo Oxer. After the breather, a 180 turn, and now you have to focus all the way through. 9A, 9B. This is the double combination. In violet colors, doesn't always jump so easily. It's 8 meters 20 inside, and then it is 5 strides to the oxer of La Ville de Cam. A very flimsy, a very light, a very delicate oxer there at 10. Very quickly, out of the turn comes the full-faced blank wall, the palm tree wall at 11. And then you have to make up your mind. It's an inside 6 or an outside 7. As we are still watching here, that slow motion detail of La Ville de Cam. This is that full-faced blank wall. It says rails there, but it's actually a full plank. And then it's an inside 6 or a very holding outside 7. I don't think it is there. Then a tall upright, very tall upright, and a short 4. So you have to try to find your way and curve a little bit of extra meters into that line to fence 13, the Bush Oxer. The 4 strides are very, very tight. Time allowed is 83 seconds, 13 fences, plenty of jumps. What this man has penciled onto paper and has now been built in the beautiful Stade de Hesperides, a stadium that has been organizing and hosting sports events, entertainment events for so many years. Edith Piaf even gave a huge concert here, not so far from La Croisette. And this is then a beautiful overview. Down here, the warm-up with its iconic trees, the recognizable grandstands, the square arena, the palm trees, and those that always enjoy coming to Cannes. And Ben Meer is one of the. Ben Meer has been successful here in the past. Ben Meer is, by the way, 3rd last to go. He was winner here, Ben Meer, but now comes in with Point Break, 3rd last to go, and Ben Meer has got somewhat of a score to settle. Ben Meer hasn't won a Grand Prix yet this season, and Ben Meer didn't win a Grand Prix last season, and Ben Meer didn't win a Grand Prix the season before. 3 times 4 penalties this season so far, Ben Meer with Point Break, and now again in the ring with that same horse. The starting list with the world #1 to go very early, qualified just by a hair, very lucky there. Then Gulliksen, Straumann, Spitz, Tops, Alexander, of course, 7 times the jump off in this Grand Prix over the last, 18 years. Camille with Odense Oderveld, H5 Castel Mimo. There is Killer Queen, there is Mandato van der Neerheid, there is Blood Diamond Dupont, there is L'Artiste de Toxandra with Jotim Loli Mitlineo, Mike van der Vleuten with O'Bailey, last year's winner, now with a different horse. And then Scott Brash, Harry Charles, Messi van der Uitershof, Christian Koekekon, Just Be Gentle, Peter de Vos, on Moms to Piet Larocque. And then it continues with Malibayo Johnson, Indiana, then Katanga, then Monaco, then Point Break, then Lord de Muse. And then the lightning fast Julien Epaillard. Indeed, we have 13-9 competing in this packed Grand Prix, and there is 500,000 euro up for grabs. Youngster there, Giacomo Casadei. Is he already making his way down to the entry? No, I don't think so. Casadei is 16th to go. It'll be the Grand Prix debut for Marbella du Chablis. And there's plenty of others that will have their Grand Prix debut. I'm thinking about Geraldine Straumann with Long John Silver. Last week it was Grand Prix debut for Dynastie de Beaufour with Nina Malvet, but also for H5 Ganajiro with Carlos Hanguerrero, and both horses we will see once again here tonight in this Grand Prix. The parents there, or the mother at least, of Thibaut Spitz. This is the father of the Longines Global Champions Tour. quietly. Eliana comes in with Hendrik van Eckermann. There's nothing quiet about this venue here, about the Stade de Esperide. It's not the biggest show jumping stadium, but it is a very loud one. This is Eliana, the mare by Cardento, and gentlemen, for the world #1. He's giving Eliana one look. If you zoom out, that is a very special fence where he was positioned there. I believe it was fence 3. Hendrik van Eckermann. We'll see that in a minute. 83 seconds is the time allowed. There's another look inside the triple combination. And what a great crowd out here in the Stade d'Esperide, as always. Van Eckermann and Eliana are the trailblazers. The Longines Global Champions Tour oxer, and then normally a flowing inside 7. The line has a small bend to it, and you have it. 7 indeed, it's not, it looks even shorter instead of a flowing 7 strides. The wall. Wide 6. Ooh, that's 10 strides, he went really wide there. And here on 8 into the combination. Applause as he's still clear. 83 seconds time allowed. Look at that delicate fence, flimsy. Projected end time would put him well inside the time allowed, so no risk at this point for Hendrik van Eckermann. Rolls there. And you could see, did you see the facial expression? He had plenty of time to think about that rail. Got maybe distracted, and now it's 8. And it doesn't really fit there for Hendrik van Eckermann and Eliana. They circle. He was in between 6 and 7. For the 7 he had to go out wider, for the 6 he had to be more on the inside, and so he retires. End of the round before he meets the finish line. Hendrik van Eckermann with Eliana.
Disappointment for Hendrik van Eckermann, unable to do what Gilles Thomas did recently, is starting a Grand Prix at #1 and making it into the jump-off. There is no success story for him and Eliana tonight. Johann Sebastian Gulliksen will be the next rider in. If you want to catch the rest of tonight's Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix of Cannes, sign up for your GCTV Live Pass right now. We are still running our French Pass promo. But for just $6.99, you can watch the rest of tonight's Grand Prix and catch all of the action from Paris as well. But you have to sign up to watch the rest of the action to see who will be crowned champion of Cannes. Let's get back to the action on GCTV.